North-South Connection. Welcome back to the most extreme menage a trois violence you'll ever experience. The extreme three-way dance, where we cover the history of ECW, both video and audio format, video on our YouTube channel under North-South Connection, audio on North-South Connection on all podcast applications. JT, Matt, and from snowy northern Florida, Jennifer Smith, how are you?
A sentence no one has ever said.
No.
Snowy northern Florida.
Yeah.
This is probably like the only time that you'll ever have more snow on the ground than Matt and I.
Yeah, really.
It's, 2025 has already been a fucking insane shit show. So why not add snow to the equation? And also, I had my garage door open. I might have been smoking in my garage a little bit. And then a little kitty came in. And so I might have a new cat now. I was like, she bit me twice already, but I still love her. It's totally
This
fine.
is how Spider-Man started.
I'm gonna be rabies girl.
Catwoman.
Rabies girl.
But we put like a little heater out there and a bed and some food, and I don't know. We'll see what.
Yeah.
I need a good snow name for her.
Once it starts, Elsa.
Yeah,
Oh, that's cute. Yeah.
There you
I
go.
might do that.
make sure you keep an eye on that heater. Don't burn down the garage trying to heat the.
I know. I thought of that
Yeah.
too.
I wouldn't let that run overnight.
Probably not.
Well,
All right. Anyway, on this show here, we're going through the history of ECW. We started in February of 94. We're near the end of 1999, about to embark on our final 13 months or so of ECW history. We're going to start. We got 3 episodes of television to cover tonight. We're going to start with the November 12th, 1999 ECW on TNN. And these are kind of all the fallout from November to Remember, which we covered in our last episode. So if you're new here, you can go back if you want to check out our recap deep dive of November to Remember 99. It was a good one. And we're going to talk about everything coming off of that here and toward the new millennium of 2000 in the world of wrestling. I'm guessing there's a lot of Y2K prepping going on around this time. A lot of nerves there. And you kind of think about like what's going on wrestling too. Like over on Matt, the network where you do a lot of the legwork over the backbone. Schiff and Logan are going through Vince Russo era WCW, and they're almost parallel to where we're at. I think we're in December of 99, but it's kind of cool listening to that and then doing this because it's like so much of like you see some of the guys that are kind of bouncing around and just hearing like what was going on in the wrestling world. And like right now in WWF, like Austin was about to go out with the neck injury, like they're about to have their biggest year. It's just crazy. I kind of think of the landscape of November 99 in the world of wrestling. But be sure to check that out. It's a fun show because to me, I like that show because obviously I like listening to them, but also I feel like it's an undercovered era on podcasts, like late era WCW. You don't hear a ton about. So
I can't imagine why.
Yeah, I know. It's something. There's a lot going on there.
It almost kills them to do that.
It does.
So I'm glad you enjoyed it.
You can feel Logan's life force draining by the way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Listen, don't break my baby boy. We need him to churn out this podcast. It makes me look slightly less insane for all the shows I do.
Yeah.
That he like doubles on.
I mean, not really, but
If we lose him, it's
backbone. He's the fucking backbone. If we lose him, we're screwed.
Yeah. Yeah. He keeps me feeling okay. All right. November 12th, 99, ECW on TNN. Lance Storm, Just Incredible, Dawn Marie arrive at the building. Jason stops them in a panic. He says, Sandman's here and he's drunk. He's crazed with anger. He's beating up cops and he's going to kill us one by one. Rhino shoves aside Jason and says he'll take Sandman's cane and shove it so far up his ass, he'll have to rip his head off to take the cane out. Impact players have nothing to worry about as long as Rhino's here. Storm says he has nothing to worry about because him and Dawn are leaving. Storm says he's a wrestler. He's not looking to get hit with canes. Incredible tries to stop them. He says they have a cane too. Incredible says they beat him before. He'll do it again. And they have the cane and an animal. Dawn says Lance is a technical athlete and she wants to go eat. And her and Lance shuffle off. Credible tells Jason that they're staying in Rhino, as Rhino promises there's nothing to worry about. And speaking of snow in North Florida, it looked very cold for this crew. They have all their winter gear on and they're coming in the building. And like, I was laughing because Jason and Rhino stopped them like right in the doorway. It's like, let them come inside. It's fucking freezing. They get the house. Like, let them come in and warm up. They're like, stop them right in the fucking door. And I was wondering, like, for a minute, I'm like, are they writing Storm off? Like, is he quitting everything? Like, it felt almost like, you know how they write guys off sometimes? Like, I'm out of here, fuck you. And like, because Credible and Rhino kind of seem annoyed. and it almost felt like a soft like write off for Storm. It's not, but if for a moment I was like thinking, I'm like, is this it for him because of the way it went down? All of a sudden he's like, yeah, I'm not sticking around. Bye. And then he left. So anyway, Matt, what do you think of this very cold open?
My God. Credible was dressed in layers. Storm had the windbreaker on those. He's like 19. If 1982 was a person, his last Jesus Christ. But I do like this jump that Rhino has taken into this main spot, like where he's like,
yes,
fuck you guys. Like, I'll take him out. I don't give a shit. Like, if you're too big of bitches to take him out, I'll fucking do it. Fuck
yeah,
you.
I'll fight
like,
anyone.
Yeah. So, and Dawn saying, let's go eat, fucking killed me. Just fantastic. Just a perfect bookend to this whole thing, Jenny. It was great.
this might have been one of my favorite things I've seen on the TNN episode. And I don't even like the Impact players that much. But number one, Jason's panic.
Yeah.
He was
Sam is
very
going to kill us all. And then Rhino comes and shoves Jason the fuck out of the way. Immediate, because it's the first thing you see. I was like, "Oh my God, what's happening?" And I was cracking up automatically. And Don Murray, let's go eat. I was rolling. I mean,
Is there anywhere good to eat in downtown Dayton, Ohio?
Dayton, probably not. But I have been the girl at the wrestling show saying, "Let's go eat." So
In the cold, complaining, no doubt.
a couple times.
Not anymore now. Now you're a grizzled veteran of the cold weather.
True.
Right. Yeah.
All right, we got our opening animation. Joey and Joel welcome us to Dayton and lay out the night ahead, including Joey wondering if the Impact players have broken up after what we just saw. Joey also hypes digital photos from November to Remember on the website and hits some quick highlights of that show. We then go to Tommy Dreamer. He's sitting on the floor of the men's room. He's dressed like Raven. He's talking like him, rambling, and says, asks Raven what he could do to Tommy that he didn't already do before. Tommy says he doesn't care about his body, and he keeps smashing his head into a stall, starts to bleed, and he keeps bashing his skull as he says they are bound by something stronger than love or hate. They're bound by blood, and wraps up by saying, do the right thing, Scotty. So some psycho stuff here, Johnny, going on with Tommy. It's hard to know if he's just fucking with Raven and trying to turn the mind game table, or has he really snapped because Raven's kind of pushed him over the edge. But coming off November, remember, it looks like we may finally have that next step in the Raven Dreamer story that we've all been kind of waiting for since Raven came back, where it's been a lot of repetitiveness. It looks like maybe we're, taking things a different direction for once here.
Yeah, 6 months in the making. We have some development on this fucking angle.
I think it's been like 2 months, but I know it feels like more than that.
Okay.
September, wasn't it? It was early September.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels way longer than that. But no, this was good. I don't think that Tommy has snapped. I think he is definitely baiting Raven, trying to force some sort of something out of this man who can only come in the ring and DDT him over and over again. So I love the bound by blood line. I think that's very clever. And he was very unhinged in this. It was it was Aaron George-esque, Maddie.
Yeah, I definitely think he's just trying to he's playing mind games with Raven, sort of like Raven's been doing with Dreamer for 4 fucking years at this point. So, and I'd like to know like how many cc's of blood Dreamer has lost into various like metal doors, locker doors over the years, because it seems like he's good for one of these promos like 2 or 3 times a year. So.
There's more of his DNA in the ECW arena than in his body, I think.
Yeah, it's probably right.
Oh,
yeah.
Imagine the DNA in that building.
I mean, we were in that building.
I mean, we were. We contributed heavily.
Well, the walls weren't caked that I remember, but
Keith left his DNA in the other building for
yeah, right. He's a bad pig.
Naughty pig. If this was Aaron, there'd be a lot of Skeets and Jubiloos as well. Right?
True.
Joey and Joel narrate Dawn coming to the ring in November to Remember. They hype up the show. And to the ring we go as Steve Carino is here, and he will be taking on Jerry Lynn. Jack Victory wheels out Carino. They debate the validity of Victory's injury. Gertner uses his neck as an example of long-time nagging pain. Joey says Joel's been a nagging pain in the ass for 10 weeks. Joel says, well, maybe you eat too much spicy food. Joey's surprised that Carino is going to wrestle us, as he usually hides at ringside. Joel gets a Rosie fat joke in. Always taking strays, Rosie O'Donnell. As Carino grabs the mic and says there are a lot of things in ECW that make him sick, but what makes him the most sick is people that cry, whine, and are scared to wrestle hurt. He's been wrestling with a broken appendix for 9 months, but Lynn has a few bruised ribs and he can't wrestle much anymore. Carino tells Lynn to get his crippled ass out here so he can end his career for good. Joel keeps harping on Joey's injured ass as Lynn sprints to the ring. Lynn slides in, goes right at Carino with chops and a hard lariat to a bulldog. Lynn shoots Carino to the floor. He kicks away, flings him to the railing as Joey says Lynn has learned how to harness and use his temper. Lynn spikes Carino into the chair, shoots him back to the ring. Victory follows. Lynn kicks low, but that allows Carino to smack him with a chair. Carino hammers away, gets a backbreaker, peppers the taped ribs. Lynn fires back. Carino stops him, the Russian leg sweep into the chair. Carino keeps striking the ribs, lands a shot to the head, but eats a boot on a charge, and Lynn takes him down with a swinging DDT. Lynn unloads and sticks the cradle pile driver and picks up the win. Tajiri comes in right away, misses a kick, and Lynn fends him off. Tajiri dodges a charge, spews the green mist at Lynn, and then him and Victory work over Lynn's ribs until Super Crazy makes a save. Lynn takes swings at Crazy because he's blind, and they fight as Carino, Tajiri, and Victory laugh. This is a fine TV match, some good flow and offense for both guys. Lynn winning decisively is the way to go. Carino can take losses. Who cares? It's all about bravado and character work. The post-match is interesting. We'll see if it goes anywhere crazy and Lynn and, where they're at with Tajiri and those three guys are kind of always at war anyway. So Matt went 2.5. This is just a basic TV match.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I went 2.5 on this. Very quick match. Like I saw this on paper. I thought it was going to be longer than it was. Like this went like 5 minutes, I think.
CNN, nothing gets a lot of time. That's the only
yeah,
thing.
no, I know. And I think it's kind of worse off for it, quite frankly. But like,
well, I don't know.
I think these two guys could have had like a really good match if they had given it more time. But I mean, I like Carino bringing back the broken appendix thing. We hadn't heard him say that.
Although he did. I think they originally used to call it appendic, and now
yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's
yes,
right.
They did. Yeah. So it's changed a little bit, but I'm glad he brought it back. So
multiple appendix.
Yeah. Appendi, they call it. But yeah, this was really fun. For that fucking cradle pile driver was sick on Carino, so that was very good. I'm curious where the post match is going. That was interesting. Like we may be building towards like a Lynn crazy singles match at some point again, so that'll be interesting to see. But like the match itself was just perfectly fine TV stuff. So 2.5 for me, Jenny.
I feel like everyone on this show, all the shows that we're going to talk about tonight, everybody just went to the salon. Everyone is very blonde all of a sudden.
Well, Sonnen was very big in 1999.
Yes.
No.
And Carino has it here. Balls has it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm like, why is Balls
This is the
blonde?
time of the highlights.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar Ray.
It is 100% in effect on this show. It kind of throws me off, not gonna lie. I don't know why. I kind of knew it was coming though, but this was fun. Yeah. I love the appendic callback, and I love Jerry Lynn didn't have to go this hard to beat Carino, but he really is fired up with his taped up ribs and all. And then the post match was interesting, but I mean, Jerry Lynn was blind. Like, how can this be a feud now because it was an accident? So maybe, I don't know, it was a little thin premise there towards the end. But I gave it 2.5 stars.
Cyrus is backstage. He has a name tag that says he's part of creative. He's on the phone and says Paul isn't happy. They need to make a change, and he's on board with. If there's anything they can do to not make Paul look so fat on TV, we can work on that too. Cyrus hangs up and greets the cameraman. He has an update from the creative department and the progress of the commentary staff. They're happy about how things are shaping up with Joey Styles. It's a lot of sizzle and steak. But with Joel Gertner, things aren't going how they'd like. And it isn't really how he looks or that he's 23 and never paid his dues. It's hard for the boys in the back to take him seriously. He has the wrong kind of heat in the back with them. Cyrus says Gertner gets himself over at the expense of the talent, which is not the job of a commentator. And he made things worse in November to remember when he got into a physical altercation with the talent as he fought Taz. It was a stupid move as everyone had to sit back and watch Joey Styles get punked out on national TV, and Gertner didn't back him up, and then they had to watch him roll on the ground like a fat, hairy flounder. They just can't have the announcers fraternizing with the talent. So Cyrus is calling a meeting with creative, and Joel has to come to the office to discuss his future. He should explore his options because there are changes coming, and as they say at the office, onward and upward. I can't decide if I hate this or love it. Like, I'm so torn.
Yep. That's where I'm at.
It's funny. Cyrus is good at it.
Yes.
But it's so fucking inside, like, and like silly and counterproductive at the same time. Like, this is like Joel's Joel, but like they're the voices of your big national TV show, and you're out here like shitting on it, the work he's doing. Like it felt a little counterproductive. It almost felt like save this for hardcore TV, where it's just probably less like random people flipping through watching. They might be like, what the fuck is he talking about? Or I don't know, there was no web stuff, wasn't many of the hotline, but it felt like more like save it for the internet, dude. This felt like a little bit too inside, wink wink for TNN right now, but I don't know. I mean, again, I'm trying to put my mindset back in 99. Like I probably would have loved it and thought it was hilarious, and like because they're so different, but it just feels like so, I don't know, it just feels forced. To me the only reason it works is because Cyrus is so good in the delivery.
Yes.
But the content is shaky.
Fat Harry Flounder is really funny. Yeah, but I agreed. Like, I at first I was like, yeah, okay. But then I'm like, I don't know. Like, Joel didn't really get over by doing anything but Joel things. He didn't. All that shit he was like, I was trying to like kind of give it some like value, and then I'm like, all the shit he's saying is kind of weak. So I'm kind of go fuck yourself, Cyrus. So I don't know. It's a lot of personalities on these TNN shows. I don't know that we've seen Cyrus before on the TNN shows.
Yeah, we definitely have.
We have. Okay.
I think he's done this shit before on there.
Okay,
I think it was TNN where he did the. Didn't he have one a couple weeks ago too? He did something similar, like he was on the phone or something. I think it was something like this.
Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of that through the pay-per-view, and so I'm like, lose the thread on where he's talking bullshit.
Right.
Also, why is he wearing like latex gloves?
I think it's so he's not, because I think it's supposed to be like the arena's gross or whatever. He's ahead of his time.
Sure. Okay.
Germaphobe.
He mopped up all the Dreamer's blood on the fucking in the fucking bathroom. Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. Like, I'm torn on how to, like, if it was like nobody else could pull this off. I think Cyrus is the only person who could pull something like this off, and even as is, I'm still not sure how I feel about it. Like, if it was anybody else, I think it's a dud. And it's tough to look back, like sort of like to your point, JT. Like, we're looking at it in 2025 eyes, where anytime we see shit like this, it's fucking cringeworthy. But trying to look at it from a 1999 lens, like, wrestling was kind of shifting that way, like with WCW and WWF. Like, it was kind of going towards more of this insider stuff. So I feel like for the time, it kind of fits right in with all that shit. But
I mean, WCW for sure with Russo and all through 2000, they're very insider. I think WWF actually gets away from it a little bit more when Russo leaves. Like, they're a little bit more less catering to like the inside stuff, but like Madden on WCW is like out of control.
Oh yeah, it's
all inside shit. And I mean, we're a few months away from Bischoff with the scissors and all that. Like, I mean, they get extremely wink. I mean, ECW has always kind of been that way, but I don't know. This just felt like very.
It's another level to some of the stuff we've been used to seeing. So we'll see where it goes. But right now, I'm kind of like. I like that Cyrus is getting a spot because I've always liked him. Right. But I don't know if this is necessarily going to work.
Well, it kind of feels like, I guess, what else? I don't know. I mean, I like him in the booth because it's kind of like, what would you do with him otherwise? But yeah. Anyway,
he's all right. We're in the nest. Hot too. So.
Okay. We're in the nest. Joel flabbergasted says he's in trouble with the creative department and the office, but Joey says there's no office, there's no creative. Joel says Joey's in the office. He saw the pay-per-view. Joey tells him not to be so paranoid. He needs to do his job, and Joel starts to ramble. Joey slows him down, says the office thinks Joel speaks too fast, and then he stops. Joel narrates highlights from Joel narrates the highlights from Don't Remember. After break, Joel's asking the cameraman to tell the office nice things about him and then apologize to anyone he's offended. And we get to November Remember hype, and then back to the ring we go, and we're going to get a match. It's kind of teased a few minutes ago, and that is Super Crazy taking on Tajiri. Tajiri's in the ring, comes out as crazy, and this rivalry rolls on with another tussle. After a break, we get the bell and circle around to ease in. Joel says Crazy's really insane, and when he's home, he drinks the water. We're trying to save him. We get a lockup, and Crazy trips Tajiri, and that brings us a crispy series of rapid counters and pin attempts that end in a standoff and an ovation. Tajiri offers a handshake, then he kicks Crazy's head off. Crazy falls outside. Tajiri meets him with a somersault senton over the post. Tajiri shoves Crazy into the crowd. Joel waxes poetic about his wrestling days, and Joey says he was a luchador named El Gordo. Crazy shoots Tajiri into the back wall, scales the bleachers, and meets him with an acai to a big pop. Crazy kicks away. Tajiri takes back over. We head into the ring. Tajiri kicks Crazy off the apron and tries a sunset flip. Crazy blocks, so Tajiri turns around to a tarantula in a very smooth-looking spot. Crazy trips up Tajiri, goes into a rolling surfboard, cranks on a dragon sleeper. Crazy releases and stomps away. Tajiri catches him with a handspring elbow, floats over out of a brainbuster and slams Tajiri to the mat, and then hits a moonsault, but eats knees on the second one. Tajiri wipes out the ref by accident. That draws out Lynn, who decks Tajiri and stomps away. Crazy stops Lynn, and they get into it, and Lynn buries him with a cradle pile driver. Tajiri hits a standing moonsault and pins Crazy for the win. Great stuff as always with this guy. It's just kind of a bridge setting. Crazy balled out as always. Tajiri is so stiff and on point. Everything connects with purpose. The end was fine as we kind of get the show long story instead of future issues as well. And the crowd is really into it. So it was hot. Jenny, I went 3 1/4. Much hotter than Cyrus.
Much well. Yeah, I like the them going out into the crowd in this one. I love that rolling inverted surfboard into another submission move. Just, I mean, they know what they're doing, and the crowd eats it up as they should. It's incredible. Jerry Lynn, he's just running in to like say I'm sorry about beating you up because I was blind. I don't know. But he did. I don't know.
Lynn, I think it's funny because he comes off as such a mild-mannered guy with those big glasses, but he acts very. A lot of times he acts like out of control.
Yeah. Like he's got a short fuse or something.
But like super crazy doing that insane moonsault off the like bleachers. Awesome spot there. And Tajiri is just always fucking balling out every minute. He just looks lethal in everything. I love watching him. I went 3 stars, Maddie.
Yeah, I went 3 stars on this too. I mean, these guys have wrestled each other, I think, 139 times at this point.
And
but there's always little stuff in it that they change up. Like in this one, the crowd brawling stuff, the moonsault. Like they do enough in every match to not make it boring. Like their baseline is 3 stars at this point, and it's like it's crazy. They could sleepwalk to a 3-star match with each other. So the Lynn stuff, I don't know. Like, I don't know. You couldn't have seen unless he was blind this whole fucking time. You probably could have. Right. You probably could have seen the video and said, "Hey, Crazy didn't mean it." So
exactly. He doesn't care. He's a hothead.
Right.
Interesting. That's how much of a hothead he is because he's presented as like this calculated veteran or whatever.
Yeah.
But like he's really snapped. Like
it's real like serial killer energy he's got going on where it doesn't take much for him to just fucking flip a switch and lose his mind.
But he wants to wear his fucking ribs wrapped up though.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's all he's doing. That's why he can't look at any film or he's too busy wrapping his ribs constantly.
Yeah. He called up DDP to give him advice on how to do it. But yeah, I mean, this was your typical great match out of these two, so 3 stars for me.
All right, back to the ring we go for our final match of the night. It is Rhino taking on Sandman. Carino's in the ring. He hypes up Rhino as the next big thing in sports, calls out Sandman. We see Raven pacing the locker room. Sandman comes out. He's got no shirt on. He's looking tan and, again, pretty cut.
Hell
for him. He looks pretty good. We get the full beer-fueled entrance, as always. As that's happening, we head to Axel and Balls in the bathroom, talking about November to Remember. They issue a warning to the Baldies, but the Baldies show up and kick the shit out of them. When we go back, and Sandman is still making the entrance. Joel and Joey talk about the Baldies and New Jack's pending revenge. Carino dips to the apron as Sandman finally gets in the ring and chugs a beer. As he does, Rhino gores him and stomps away. He scoops up Sandman and bruises him with a power slam for 1. Rhino hammers away and shoots Sandman to the floor. follows right out, shoots him hard to the railing. Sandman's back. He yanks Rhino to the railing. As Joey says, this is the immovable rookie versus the unstoppable drunk. Back of the ring, the crowd's chants welcome back. Sandman soaks it in. He lays in some hard chops. Sandman hoists Rhino to the top rope, and it's a Rana, which Joel calls a Heineken Rana. Joey says he only drinks domestic, and Joel says Rhino went down like a rolling rock. Rhino comes back with a scoop power slam for 2. Victory gets on the apron. Rhino decks him by accident. That allows Carino to come in and deck Sandman, but he kicks out of a cover. Carino slides a chair in the ring. Rhino plants Sandman out with a spine buster. He goes up and misses a headbutt, bangs off the chair. Carino comes in. Sandman hits him with a Russian leg sweep and then canes Rhino 3 times and finally puts him down to wrap up the match. And I went 2 1/4 on this. And yeah, I thought it was fine. We got a post match in a second. Right. What did you think of the match, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I went 2 1/2 on it. I liked Rhino just goring the shit out of the Sandman to start the match. I thought that was really good. And I mean, the rest of it, like, it almost feels like they're kind of easing Sandman back into this style. Like we haven't seen any real crazy shit out of him yet between the pay-per-view and this. So it kind of feels like where, for whatever reason, they're easing him back into the ECW way of things, probably because he's been stuck in WCW for a year. But for what we got, like, it was real good. There was a spine buster on the chair by Rhino was really good. So there's a lot of good moves, but I think it didn't get a lot of time, which nothing on this episode match-wise really did. And I just feel like for whatever reason, it feels like, and I don't think it's Sandman necessarily holding back. I just think for whatever reason, they don't want Sandman to go full bore yet. Maybe because it's TNN and they're afraid that TNN's going to get pissed off if they go too violent with it. But it kind of felt that way to me. Like it felt toned down a little bit. So, I mean, I went 2 1/2 on it. The match was kind of whatever, but it was good to see Sandman in a singles match again. Jenny?
I have so many thoughts. Okay, so yes, I think in the arena, this match goes like way hotter. Like it felt like they were holding back, but I thought Rhino looked awesome in it. Like they keep calling him the monster rookie. I mean, he's been around for a minute. I don't know how long you consider a person a rookie.
Cookie Monster.
But I thought he was definitely hanging in there with Sandman. That gore was awesome. The Sandman entrance never gets old. I always love it. It's always amazing. And he deserves every minute that he gets in those entrances. Joey and Joel were very funny during this. I loved the commentary. But yeah, I mean, this is like the match, like length and like the pacing reminds me of a Lucha Underground episode, because this is what we do a lot there, with this kind of pacing in the episode.
Yep.
So every match kind of gets equal amount of time, and so this is your time and do what you will with it. I kind of like it. I like the kind of shorter matches on TNN. And I think they, even though they were holding back, I think it's still pretty brutal for a TNN episode. And I actually really liked it, and I went 2 1/2 on it.
All right. After the match, Justin Credible and Jason hit the ring. Credible bashes Sandman with the cane in the back of the head. Credible pulverizes him with it until Dreamer comes in to help. Tommy and Sandman get overwhelmed and beaten down. We see Raven backstage, and he decides to sprint out to a big pop. Raven fights off Credible, runs off Victory, and smashes Rhino with a chair. Joel says Raven gets jealous when other people can beat up Tommy. Raven offers his hand to Tommy, helps him up, but then Sandman canes Raven in the head and beats him down. Tommy pulls Sandman off as Raven is writhing in pain. And an interesting twist in the saga where maybe Raven is coming around and trying to help Tommy and do the right thing. And Sandman is still pissed from the night before. Joey and Joel recap the night. They're shocked Raven did the right thing. Joel keeps fretting over the office. Backstage, Raven says he did the right thing and asks why he let the drunk beat him up. It's just like when he was 7 and he came home with an A- and his dad beat the crap out of him with a beer on his breath and said it wasn't good enough. He asked his mom why dad beat him, and she said, "You're lucky that's all he does." Raven keeps whining and asking why Tommy let the drunk beat him up, doing the right thing, and he slips and calls Tommy mommy as he's weeping. He's muttering, "I did the right thing." And it looks like this change in attitude perhaps being driven by Raven's daddy issues. And seeing Sandman as his drunk asshole father and Tommy now as his mother, and he wants to protect her. So it's an interesting twist. And Jenny, you've been begging for a turn in this feud. Were you expecting Raven to look at Tommy Dreamer as his mom?
It was kind of hot, not gonna lie. Daddy issues, am I right? But no, I thought that Raven he was acting his ass off. Like, he pulled this promo off as he always does. And it's interesting. Yes, I like him, like, pacing around during, like, because they show him like pacing around during the match, like, do I go or do I not go? Like, another interesting moment. But I actually, I thought I was kind of affected by this. Like, I was like, wow, like, he really did that.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm gonna do the right thing for once.
Yeah,
and now drunk dad still punished me for doing the right thing.
It reminded me of Good Will Hunting, where he's like, it's not your fault, and he keeps saying it's not your fault. Anyway, that's where I was at on that, Matty.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've been begging for some sort of new wrinkle to this whole Raven Dreamer thing, and a hell of a wrinkle they added. My God, this is a pretty funny episode, all told, and boy, did we end with quite the tone shift at the end. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Just like could almost hear the fucking record scratch, but like. It's really good. Like, this is the thing we need more out of Raven.
Yes.
These fucking just sad, depressed, angry promos. Like, they're great. He's awesome at delivering them, and like, we'll see where this goes. Because holy hell, like,
I think him and Tommy actually becoming a team,
right?
It's like the one that we haven't really had. And I know they've been champions, but they've been at odds. And now, like, if we actually get something where Raven starts to become sympathetic toward Tommy and Tommy like wants to help protect him, but now Sandman's kind of the asshole in this situation. Like,
I like it.
And given what Raven said, it would make the Dreamer team make sense,
right?
Given how he's,
and it feels old school ECW as well.
Yes.
Definitely. And Sandman definitely has the right to like hate Raven still. I mean, like, Raven did some awful things to him in the past. So like, yeah, he's not just going to be like, oh yeah, we're all ECW originals, like we're all buddies. Like,
and then that just sets up a lot of things, because it sets up tension between Tommy and Sandman as well, and it adds this new wrinkle between Dreamer and Raven, and then there's the possibility of one of them fucking each other again. So a lot of possibilities in that.
All right, awards to this first episode. Best match, I had Tajiri Crazy.
Yep.
Yes.
And worst match, I just had Sandman Rhino, which again was fine, but
yeah.
Best moment, I went with the. I like the Raven promo, but I give it to Crazy. That balcony moonsault.
That I loved it.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
What
I went. I went the moonsault.
Most 90s, I went with the creative office talk from Cyrus.
God, yes.
Just everything Cyrus was talking about. Yeah.
Stock Rising, I went Dreamer, Lynn, Cyrus, Tajiri, and Raven.
I would say Rhino.
Yeah, I would add Rhino too, for sure.
And then Falling, I just went Rotten Balls. I mean, they just kind of look like bitches in the back.
Yeah. Oh, well, I didn't even talk about that, but I thought that was really funny.
They call it the Baldies and just immediately get the crap kicked out of them.
Yeah, they come out of the stalls.
That was really good.
Yeah,
I like the attack. I thought they looked like weak by calling them out, and then like, okay, we're here, and just kick the shit out of them. Like, all right,
you didn't hear them in there, or
you called them out, tough guys, Final grade, I went 6.5 out of 10. It was a very good episode of TV. I don't think it was a must see, but there's some funny stuff on there. The commentary is pretty good. Cyrus is funny. The matches were all solid. But besides that last thing with Raven, like, I don't think anything happened that was like, oh, you got to see this episode, especially coming off the pay-per-view, even though I know it's probably taped before, obviously.
Well, at least we didn't get like a whole lot of like recapping.
Right.
Like,
no, you're right. Yeah,
so I appreciated that. I appreciated the humor in this, and I went 7 out of 10.
Yeah, that was the thing for me. This was save for the obvious Raven promo at the end. This was a very funny episode, and I was entertained through it, so I went 7 on it.
All right, let's go to the next day, November 13th, 1999, episode of Hardcore Television. Outside, Raven is in a parking garage. Paulie comes over and kind of sits with them and says, When the show's over, you can sit in a parking lot and realize what a great metaphor it is for the wrestling business. It's cold, it's dark, it's unforgiving. To an outcast like him, a rebel in a conservative business, Heyman asks himself, why did I bring Sandman back? And this drunk is going to drive me crazy. And Dreamer's always bitching about teaming with Raven. The Impact players bitch about title shots, and everyone's critical. And here he is having to come up with new stuff every week. Heyman says, I'm as miserable as you are. And Raven asks him, why are you telling me? And Heyman says, I don't know. Quote the Heyman, nevermore. And they both kind of laugh. Again, this felt like a little inside.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
but it was cute.
It was cute. And it humanized Raven a little bit.
Yeah.
I just was expecting Heyman to like go somewhere with it to like help Raven's mindset and like actually further the story. So like Heyman's stressed and bitching, and he could have said something like, like, hey, I get it. Like, we all just got to keep pushing on. I don't know. I felt like he could have said something more. Like, it felt like it was going to be a motivational speech. And it was, in the end, it was just like, yeah, my life sucks too. Sorry.
I think that fits with Raven
I guess, yeah.
and Tommy. Just like, it was a bitching promo. I kind of really enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it felt to me like Heyman was having like a shitty day whenever they decided to record this, and he just said, "Give me a fucking camera. I need to vent because I'm aggravated."
And he
was probably getting people complaining backstage or whatever the fuck. In that moment.
Something pissed him off, and he said, "Give me a camera and a microphone."
I thought it was good, and I love a parking garage promo.
All right. Well, from there we get our opening animation. Joey's in the nest. Says they're so close to seeing the real Scott Levy emerge from Raven, but everything went wrong in Dayton. We get clips of the end of November to Remember where Raven hit Sandman and cost them the match, and the trouble brewed between that and the TNN taping as well. We get Dreamer's bathroom promo from TNN. We then get Joey talking more about Raven. We get the ending and post-match of the Sandman Raven stuff. Joey in the nest talks about more about that. We get Raven's promo from the end of TNN. And Joey kind of wraps up the deep dive. So nothing much there, just kind of a recap of everything we've been talking about. So we head to the ring for our first match on the night, and it features Rob Van Dam defending his television title against Little Guido. And of course, Little Guido's here. That means just one thing. It is time for our Italian lesson of the week, and this week is an interesting one.
Oh, no.
Because I'm going to speak right to Matt Souza's heart.
Let's go.
Yeah.
The Italian stallion himself, Mr. Rocky Balboa, one of the most famous Italian characters of all time. Of course, the fictional character and titular protagonist of the Rocky franchise, created by Sylvester Stallone, depicted as a working-class, poor Italian-American from the slums of Philadelphia, as a club fighter and enforcer for, of course, the legendary Philly Mafia loan shark. Matt, his name?
Oh, God, I'm bad with names.
Hey.
I know, I am.
Gazzo is the loan shark that he works for, of course. And the character itself is based on, Matt?
Go on.
Rocky Graziano.
I like the movie. You think I know everything that happened?
Christ, the boxing guy. Rocky Balboa, born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the only child in a Roman Catholic Italian-American or Italian-American family. And of course, would go on to star in many movies. 5 original Rocky movies, has the great fights with Apollo Creed, with Clubber Lang, Ivan Drago, and then In the Street with Tommy Gunn. We take a long time off, about 15, 16 years. He comes back in Rocky Balboa, which is an amazing sequel movie. And Matt, who's he fight in Rocky Balboa?
That would be Mason the Line Dixon. I got you there.
He sure does. He fights him on ESPN. And he takes him to the limit and holds himself well. Great movie. You think then maybe we're done with Rocky, but no, he returns in the amazing Creed series with Michael B. Jordan as Apollo Creed's son, Adonis, and he trains him in that. And Creed 2, if you're a fan of Rocky 4 and the Drago storyline, of course, Creed 2 is amazing because Ivan Drago is back and Adonis Creed
sure was
Drago's son. And we get a lot of catharsis between Rocky and Drago that was lingering from Rocky 4. So it's an amazing series there. Matt, what did you think of them? I guess spoilers, but Adrian being dead for the comeback, Rocky Balboa and on.
I mean, she was annoying as shit in Rocky 4, so I was kind of okay with it.
Yeah. There's a lot of nonsense.
You can't win!
People were surprised. I think she was mad too, right?
I mean, it was surprising. Don't get me wrong, but
I think Talia Shire was pretty pissed off too that they wrote her off kind of for no reason. Like she was alive, she could have been in it.
He just randomly cut to her tombstone in the movie. It's like, oh shit, that's what we're doing.
But they did have Paulie. Paulie was back. Before his, I think it was probably before his turn as Bobby Bacala Senior. I don't know the time. Yeah. So I'm going to ask you a quick, Matt. As we're here, I know we usually are used to ranking the American Pies.
Oh boy.
But I'm going to have you rank the 6 Rocky movies. I'll leave Creed out, just the 6 Rocky movies. You can give me whatever you want. Best, personal, whatever you want to do.
I mean, Rocky 4 is my number one. Like I've seen it 8,000 times. Like the best actual movie is the first one, but my favorite one is the 4th one. So like I'll go 4, then I might go 1, then I'd probably go 3. I kind of hate 2, but I'll put 2 ahead.
2's like a real good movie too, though. Like as a movie,
I know. I
feel like it gets overlooked, but it's tough because they're so good.
But 5 is a fucking disaster. I hate 5 so much. Jenny's about to keel over.
Where'd you have 6? How was 6?
Ahead of 2. So what, 4th?
Yeah, I think I have Rocky 3 as my favorite.
Yeah.
I think I'd go, if I'm going pure favorite, probably 3, 4, 1 Balboa, 2, 5.
Yeah.
But I think as far as like pure movie goes, yeah, it's like 1. It's probably the order 1, 2, 3.
Right.
Probably 1, 2, 3 Balboa.
Yeah.
4, 5. If you had to rank it in order of movie stylistic, and I don't think 5 is as bad. You should rewatch it. Like I don't think it's as bad as I think it's bad because the series is so good and it was kind of like all right, we're done. But as a standalone movie, last time I watched it, I was like, it actually isn't that bad.
Yeah. It's just the highs are very high.
I mean, the guy who plays Don King is great.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry. We have to do it.
Now that you've wasted an entire Italian lesson on this bullshit.
How dare you?
Listen, keep us watching all these other stupid movies with Logan. We need the Rocky education of Jennifer Smith.
No,
I've tried. You know how many times I've brought that up to Jenny to do a Rocky podcast.
And all 3 Creeds. I want it all.
I've seen the Creed movies. I've seen enough.
You need to see the Rockies to really appreciate the Creeds. Because there's so much. They're great movies on their own, but like you get so much more out of them if you watch all the Rockies. It's like watching Better Call Saul without Breaking Bad. It's still
I'll
great
watch Rocky movies when you watch the Jason series.
No, but I don't like scary stuff. Rockies.
I've watched both.
I don't like Rocky. It doesn't matter.
I've watched both. What about me? What about Matt?
I'm just saying.
Listen, I've watched a lot of movies.
Cheated me out of a lesson, so you know.
I've really sucked it up and watched a lot of horror movies for Freak Out Drive-In for you.
No, you haven't.
Weekend at Bernie's, Suburban Commando.
This is going to be
neither of those are horror movies.
This is going to be what ends the podcast.
All right, little Guido rides Sal to the ring. Joey takes us some highlights of November to remember. Guido warms up. Sal stalks around, followed by RVD sauntering out with Fonzie to a big pop. He's really taking his time and dragging it out. We finally get the intros rolling with some feeling out. Early chain work. Guido cranks on a headlock and gets a sunset flip for 2. RVD comes back with a boot and another flurry of chain counters into a stalemate. Joey wonders if RVD is starting to feel his recent schedule. Guido drop kicks him to the corner, lands some back elbows to a Russian leg sweep to another big drop kick. Guido clubs away, ducks at Enziguri, wrenches RVD down to a Fujiwara armbar. RVD gets the ropes. After a break, RVD counters the Chancery with a Northern Lights for 2, cracks Guido with a hard spin kick and a corkscrew leg drop. Guido bails out. RVD follows and peppers and punches, and before shooting him to the railing, he buries Guido against the railing with a spin heel kick, hammers on him some more, hangs him on the railing, and mashes him with a corkscrew leg drop. Guido is able to whip RVD to the railing. Sal slams into an avalanche and lands a punch, throws him back in the ring. Guido covers for 2. Guido stomps away, goes to a hammerlock, stomps on the arm before throwing RVD back to the floor. Sal clocks him as we take a break. When we come back, Guido spikes RVD with a chair with the Maritato for 2. Guido drops an elbow and lands some stiff forearms, but RVD drills him with a pop-up drop kick. gets a cartwheel moonsault for 2, hangs Guido in the trio. Whoa! Drop kicks a chair into his face. Sal shoves down Fonzie, comes in but avalanches Guido by accident. RVD knocks down Sal with a pair of drop kicks a chair. RVD follows with a rolling thunder for 2. And then RVD sets up a chair. Guido blocks a float over. It slams him on the chair. Guido comes off the top with a leg drop. It overshoots. And RVD flops into the chair anyway. They kind of botch it. Guido goes up top, but RVD kicks him in the head and follows up and crotches him on the top rope and then crushes him with the Van Damme and finishes with a 5-star frog splash for a very statement kill shot to retain. Again, it was a pretty fun TV match. Guido looked good, especially hanging in down the stretch. Sal is fun as always. RVD just kind of grinds along as usual before he gets hot and puts the knife in. A lot of these matches for him, they always scratch the itch. He's super over. Always shows up, and we'll see what his next program is for here, Jenny. I went 3 stars on this one. There's a perfectly cromulent TV title defense.
Cromulent. Yes, it was very fun. It
It's
built.
a big word, yo.
Guido, he knows what the fuck he is doing. Like, he puts it to RVD.
Mhm.
He really does. RVD doesn't know what to do with that mat wrestling, but he adapts, and he is very, very good at building a match with literally anyone. The hot finish, hot crowd, Guido on his game. It was really fun. I love Big Sal. He fucked up hardcore in this match.
He always
which
fucks
was-
up.
I know. Well, usually he's very helpful, but he kind of harmed Guido in this one, and it was just charming as hell. I just really liked it. I did 3 1/4, Maddie.
Yeah, I went 3 1/4 this on this too. Guido looked fucking great during this.
He did.
He almost looked like an underdog in a big boxing match.
Right, he did.
You know, that would be taking on like a legendary champion.
Right. Are you saying RVD is the Apollo Creed? We got to stop before Jenny murders both of us.
Watch the movies and we'll stop. Very
Seen
simple.
the movies.
Not really.
But Guido also
believe
looking yoked in this match. He good. Just
Yes.
He's
cut
been
out-
working out with Storm, I think.
He
Yeah,
has been
just-
killing it.
cut out of fucking granite. RVD, Sal splashed RVD against the railing. That probably killed him. So that was real rough. But yeah, RVD can have a fucking great match with anybody at this point, and Guido absolutely held his own. This got a ton of time too, which was great to see Guido get this like 15-minute TV title match here. So just a really fun match, and that's kind of the thing too, is like we got to see where RVD's going here, because now he's at a point where he's pretty much fucking beat everybody. So like where do we go from here? It feels like it's kind of the time to move him up to the world title picture sooner rather than later, considering he's just fucking run through the entire roster. So we'll see where that goes. But as for this, like, just a really fun TV match. So 3 1/4 from me.
I mean, I agree, but like also it's just like really fun getting these matches and like seeing how people ball out with him, and like he just kills it character wise. I mean, everybody loves him. It's really cool to just have him do this. And I know I've said like I'm kind of over it, but I don't know that I am.
I think it'd be cool to do an accounting of like RVD's opponents someday. Like, everyone he fought on TV and pay-per-view. Like, it's going to be a crazy list. Like,
totally.
It's going to be insane and like super thorough. Joey runs out upcoming events in Chicago, Gary, Peoria, Trenton, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Warner Robins, Augusta, Dover, Richmond, Salem, Cookeville, Nashville, Chattanooga, and White Plains. I've been everywhere, man. And,
beat me to it, God damn it.
ECW New York show of all time.
What a fucking pull.
I was debating to go Animaniacs or Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
Cookeville, Nashville, Chattanooga, Augusta, Dover.
I've been everywhere.
All right, to the ring we go. For our next match, a more tag action is Roadkill and Dangerous Danny Doring take on CW Anderson and Wild Bill Wiles.
Hell
Back to the
yeah.
Flick in Buffalo. This is a match that happened before November to Remember went on the air. Doring and Roadkill head up where CW and Wild Bill await. We get full intros, but CW and Wiles attack at the bell to trigger a brawl between all four. Doring and Roadkill quickly turn the tide and clean house. Doring works over Wiles with some strikes and a big drop kick after a flurry of counters. Wiles hits a power slam, tags CW. Roadkill gets baited to the ref, allowing CW and Wiles to double team. CW and Wiles keep Doring trapped and quick tag and double team when they can, working a proficient old school style. Wiles drops his head too early, and Doring hits a rocker dropper, tags Roadkill to a pop. He cuts through both guys with ease until Doring goes up top, and CW crotches him. Wiles follows up, but Doring counters to a super bareback for 2. All for a brawl again, but Doring walks into a CW super kick for a near fall. Doring ducks an attack, and Roadkill wipes out both men with a flying clothesline, plants CW with a sidewalk slam. Doring hits a top rope leg drop, and Roadkill finishes with a top rope splash. And this is pretty much a pretty fine pre-pay-per-view match. Doring and Roadkill have gotten pretty over. They work a fun style. CW and Wiles are fine in the epic tradition of ECW low-level job dudes. They're fine. Matt went 1.5 stars. This was pure filler. I mean, honestly, the match we're about to see is, a big one, and RVD was cool, but this is a very much the filler episode we just said we didn't really get on TNN is here. This is a classic. All right, we haven't had a new taping after the pay-per-view, so we're going to roll some random shit out there and fill some time. So, okay, here's the pre-show match to eat up 10 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up going 2 on it. I thought it was like a really fun opener, like a dark match. Like for a dark match, you really can't ask for much more than what you got here. Like just a fun, quick match with, a team that I feel like is really starting to escalate a bit in Doring and Roadkill and have them just, fucking destroy this scrub team at this point in like 5 minutes. So perfectly fine for what it was. The crowd really liked it, especially the finish. I thought the crowd popped big for the finish. So, I mean, for a pre-pay-per-view dark match, it's kind of all you can ask for. So 2 stars for me, Johnny.
I would say it over-delivered as a dark match. I actually got really into it. I don't know. This team has kind of slowly won me over, and the crowd is like weirdly into them, or or they're insane. And then I love a C.W. Anderson Wild Bill appearance. Love to see them on a show. It was kind of a wild sprint, constantly moving, no boring stuff, not very botchy, just kind of old school tag match stuff. So I went 2.25 on that.
Yeah, I don't think that's crazy at all. I mean, CW Wiles are kind of like, again, they're just like an old school low-level tag team, which are perfectly proficient.
Eventually, they'll probably grow on me too, and then I'll just be a fan of them. So, this is how this has gone.
And now the time is... So this is it, as our final appearance, finally. After months of thinking...
Sure?
Yes, this is it. Yep. After months of thinking that, we were not quite done with him just yet. Or thinking we were done, I should say, and him still popping up here and there. It is now time for our final match in ECW for now with Taz. For Taz.
You just said all that other
He does. There is one thing later that he comes and does. It's not a run. It's a famous one-off.
Yes.
Match.
Okay.
It's not like a week after this. It's way later.
No, it's later. It's later.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but for all intents and purposes, as a regular ECW wrestler, this is it. And we said last episode, and everyone remember, there was kind of one more match they had to do, I think, with him. And this is the one that makes the most sense to me. It's a one-on-one match for the ECW World title against Mike Awesome. So, we saw Taz put over RVD at the pay-per-view. That's kind of the one match that hadn't really happened. And now this, to me, was the other one. You want to legitimize Awesome as the world champion. Yeah, he beat Taz, but it was in that weird nonsense with Tanaka where they both pinned him and everything. So this, to me, is like, okay, you might as well put Awesome over him while you can. And now he's out the door. He's at the Rumble, which is about 2 months from this show. So I think this is essentially it. Now he just goes on ice until he debuts at the Rumble. So we come back from break. Judge Jones is leading out Awesome to a pop. Taz attacks as he gets on the apron. He hammers away. Awesome fights him off. They spill to the floor. The brawl's on. Awesome shoots Taz into the railing, back into the crowd, meets him with a tope. They fight back through the crowd to the concession area, where Awesome throws Taz into a Donato's pizza stand. Awesome slams the trash can on Taz and peppers away. They eventually brawl back into the crowd around the building. They're throwing punches. They spill into the entranceway. His fists are flying. Awesome slams Taz hard on the floor. We go back inside where Taz meets a charging Awesome with a hard lariat, but he runs into a boot. Awesome hits a clothesline. He tells Jones to hand him a table. Awesome sets it up. The crowd's rallying him. Awesome loads up Taz with the Awesome Bomb, but Taz punches free. He snaps off a T-bone suplex. Taz puts Awesome on the top rope, slugs away, hits an overhead throw. Jones distracts Taz, and Awesome puts him through the table with an Awesome Bomb for 2. Awesome goes up top, and he finishes Taz with the big splash. And that is that. So, again, this is something they had to do while Taz is still willing to play ball, but it could have been done better. I mean, there's no build, there's no hype. It's a random show in Dayton. Most of the match is a walk brawl to the crowd that they couldn't even see. And that took away from two guys who's, they most excel at like big fight vibes. Like, you want to see them, the visceral nature of like these guys throwing bombs. And instead they're walking around ringside, or I shouldn't say ringside, like around the concessions. It was short, and it could have been a hot brawl segment maybe. I know I just went on a whole thing about how they kind of had to do it, but if they were going to do it this way, I would have been fine with Taz cutting a farewell promo. Austin comes out and says like, hey, one thing before you go, and then just brawl or something. He leaves him laid out. I think maybe that would have been okay. Just the way they go about it just felt a little bit lacking. Awesome getting Taz on his belt, I think, helps legitimize him. But it did feel a little unearned in the end after watching it. Even with the Dudley stuff and ECW liking to do swerves, like everyone knew Taz's deal. So they never felt like there was drama, like Taz may actually win. It was clear he was out the door. And they even piece out with like barely any celebration. So it doesn't feel like a moment of him beating Taz. And they had this time to fill on this episode. So it's like they could have given it a few minutes and let him celebrate. I don't know how else they could have done this besides done it before November to Remember with some hype,
Right.
and then just had him lose to RVD and then that's it.
Right.
Probably would have been a better way to do it. Again, I'll give him credit for Taz laying down for Awesome, because I do think it does at the end. When you look at Awesome's ledger, you can say, okay, he won the 3-way, he beat Tanaka, and he beat Taz in singles matches. So now he's completely legitimized as a champion. So Jenny went 2 1/4. Again, it was a fun brawl, but it wasn't anything near what it could and should have been. Yep. But that goes for Taz and RVD too. We said the same thing in November. Remember, like it's almost just too little, too late.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What is the point of this sad death march you're doing, Taz? It's supposed to be like a celebration. I would think the intention would to be.
Well, they're kind of doing a time-honored tradition, right? Like you lay down on your way out for a bunch of guys and put them over, and that's what they're doing. They're using they put so much time and energy into making Taz this unbeatable monster. Mm-hmm. So I think they're thinking, well, we got to get some fucking payoff before he goes to WWE. Like, why should they reap all the benefits? So I think in their mind, the payoff is we're gonna like have him lose to RVD and Awesome to transition some of that heat. But the problem is everyone knows he's leaving. So it's like, I don't know how much you're really gaining out of it. Right. If the match isn't good, you're not gaining anything. At least RVD match was pretty good. Like this one, you don't gain much.
Yes, RVD is much better than Taz in the ring. It's always been that way. But like the progression of my notes are like, I literally don't care. What are we doing? And then when they do the concession stand stuff, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of into that. So, and then it went pretty typical after that. The Awesome Bomb was great, but you get some Taz plexes in there, and it feels like a waste of time ultimately as a main event. And as for the champ, because the champ don't have to fuck with this. I don't think the champ should have to fight Taz, who's already lost a fucking dozen times now. So 2 stars, Maddie.
Yeah, I went 2 on it. It's a very meh match. Just kind of like you could tell that, like to your guys' point, the crowd knows that Taz has no fucking shot at winning this. They all know he's fucking leaving. So like the only other way you could have done this is if you have Awesome just squash Taz in like 2 minutes. Then
that could have been fun too.
Then you get people talking about how Awesome beat Taz and beat the shit out of him, and now Taz is gone.
Taz never agreed to that.
Awesome Bomb to the table. Actually, I think he would. I think he'd rather just end it 2 minutes and get out. Like he's getting paid at that point. Who gives a shit?
Or like even if you just cut out the crowd brawling and make it like a quick 3-4 minute match, just you didn't need all this. And I get why they did the crowd brawling, and because they wanted this to be like a relatively full length match. So I kind of understand why. And you're kind of protecting Taz by doing the crowd brawling. He doesn't have to like really take any bumps, but then he takes a fucking slam on the floor. So it's like, then what the hell's the point? So I don't know. It's kind of all over the place. To your point, JT, I get why they wanted to have Mike Awesome beat Taz, but I don't know, in like a 7 8-minute match. I feel like it doesn't kind of help
He
Awesome
already
all
beat
that much.
Tanaka. Why does he need to
Right.
beat Taz?
Right. So that's kind of my point. Like, just have him fucking destroy Taz in like 2.5 minutes.
Well, again, I think Taz is just like kind of the icon. If he's going to be gone, like you may as well.
Right. I think it's more
Awesome
that
beat him, like just like Douglas, right? Taz beat him twice clean to like as he was heading out the door to pass the torch on him.
That's the. I think it's more because of Taz's resume that they would do it more so than the way Taz is right at that second. You know.
Yeah, because again, they put so much time into him, and now he's leaving.
Right.
And it's like, all right, well, we got to get something out of this. Like, we built this guy to a monster, and now he's going to go. Someone else is going to reap the benefits. So I think that was part of it. But we've been done with Taz for a bit. Like, I think,
totally.
If this all happened right after Anarchy Rules, I don't think we'd care as much. Like, it was like Anarchy Rules. The next week he fights Awesome. The next week he fights RVD, and he's gone. I think it's the fact that it's been like 2 more months on top of that. And it's like he's not really doing anything besides like these pop-up matches. Right. So,
and the fact that,
all right, this is go, buddy,
the fact that the Anarchy Rules match was such a great send-off for him too.
Right.
Yeah, we've already said goodbye to you. Like, bro, what else do you want?
It's just very weird how.
And I don't think it's even Taz. I think it's just Heyman. This
right.
Saying,
and then Taz
do this,
and then he disappears for like a month, and then out of nowhere, it's like, hey, he's facing Sabu next week. Just the whole thing with Taz since Anarchy Rules, it's just super weird. So I mean, I went 2 on the match. It was very whatever, but
it was weird. I mean, I get again why they wanted to do it, but it definitely felt it wasn't done. It reminded me of it was one of your first episodes, the Jericho match. Yeah, was it him and Foley? Was that the match? But remember, it was something. It was like his last match, and it was like super kind of half-assed and protected because he didn't want to get hurt. Like it reminded me of that a little bit too, where it's like, all right, well, at some point it's diminishing returns, but
totally.
All right, best match in this episode, I went RVD and Guido, which is crazy. If you would have said Taz Awesome,
right?
I know.
Yeah, RVD and Guido would be better.
Exactly.
Fuck yeah.
Worst match, I did have the tag. Kenny, but I think is that where you're at?
No, I'm Taz.
Yeah, I'm with Awesome. I went Awesome.
I like the tag more.
Yeah, same.
Best moment, I give it to the weird ass Raven Heyman chat in the garage.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yep.
I also had that as most 90s, like them talking misery, like how the business is like.
Yeah,
because it was actually, I thought it was an interesting talking point from Heyman because that was a real big thing at that time. Like that was why one of the reasons Russo left WWF was he was complaining that they added SmackDown to his plate and they weren't going to give him a promotion or a raise. And he's like, now you just doubled my booking, for like the same money. And like the real burnout of like having to compete every week in the wars and be fresh. And you couldn't rely as much on like the old syndicated style of like kind of canned stuff.
Right.
So I thought Heyman was actually, that was like very timely to 99 when he was talking about every week I got to get new ideas and make it, worthwhile. Like it's kind of like TNN sounds cool, but now I can't just do like the syndicated shit for my little hardcore TV anymore. I actually come up with like fresh stuff for a cable audience every week and deal with, the suits and everything that didn't give a shit before.
That's what happens when you fucking sell out.
Yeah.
Well, look, these guys want to get paid, Stock Rising going RVD, Guido, Roadkill, Doring, and Awesome.
Heyman.
Yeah. Heyman.
It seems like he's falling apart fast.
Well, yeah.
The Stark falling, I went Wiles and Anderson, and then Taz.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Taz.
And I went 6 out of 10 on what could have been like a real good show, honestly. If Taz and Awesome delivered, like this could have been a kind of a memorable episode, right? Because it's a fun TV title match, and then the Raven thing, and then like a big Taz Awesome bomb fest could have been really cool, but this wasn't meant to be.
You know what? I don't like it when the TNN episodes are better than hardcore TV. Kind of fucked this episode, and 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I went 6 on the strength of the TV title match, purely.
Yep.
I guess a tease for Jenny. Awesome Taz is like an interesting bookend duo for this run of VCW. We'll just put it that way. Because it feels like very much the end of Taz and starting Awesome as the king of ECW. We'll see at the other end of the Witches Road where things happen land.
Oh, the Witches Road.
In the spring. Near the Bitches Road, I guess. All right, one more TV here tonight. ECW on TNN, November 19th, 1999. Joey and Joel in the ring in Binghamton. The crowd is rocking. Joel does the spiel. Rhino hits the ring and paces around. Joey says the main event tonight is going to be Raven and Tommy Dreamer defending the tag team titles against Just Incredible and Rhino. And Joey says, are you the new Impact players? Rhino says they're not the new Impact players because just like his partner Lance Storm, Just Incredible's a fucking pussy. Joey's shocked. Rhino says Storm Incredible may be afraid of Tommy or Raven, but he's afraid of no man. And tonight in this shithole, he'll kick the shit out of both men and take home the titles. We see Rhino stomping backstage, and Tammy is here. She stops him and seduces him and invites him to join her in the janitor's closet, and he excitedly pulls her away. So Rhino's like a fucking madman. He reminds me of Dead Man on Campus, the crazy guy. He just like shows up like a fucking nut, like swearing and like, everyone's a fucking pussy, you know. It's a nut job. He was out of his shell for sure. And then Tammy is looks like she's got something cooking as usual. So this is a good use of Tammy. Like lean into kind of the rumors and sexual without putting her in the hot seat and talking depressing stuff. Right. Using her for ratings. Like to me, this is like a fine use of her. She's this is what she's known for. Like 96 even, she was using her feminine wiles and sexuality to get what she wanted, right? So she's seducing Rhino and then going to use him for something. So this is fine to use her in this way.
Another fucking fire open to a TNN episode. Like, fuck. We haven't really heard Rhino on the mic much. He killed it.
Yeah, one after the next was like a fucking bomb.
Was
like,
awesome.
Pussy shithole.
I was like,
fucking sniper shots.
Shit. Like, I have loved Rhino to this point, but I didn't know he could talk.
No.
Why hasn't he been talking this whole time? He was great. And Joey was great. Everybody was great. Like, this was awesome. Right. Sonny, Tammy, and whispering in his ear, great touch. Like, that was awesome. Like, perfect use of her. She looked amazing. And it was just very, like, it felt very TNA, I'm not gonna lie. But I was kind of into it.
Yeah, this was just Rhino fucking shooting sniper shots at everybody like
Binghamton catching strays.
Right. Yeah. Just throwing bombs like Schiff on a day that ends in Y. Like, fucking fantastic.
No, don't do that, Schiff.
Schiff likes Rocky. But, yeah, this was another hell of an open. Rhino needs to talk more. We've learned. Holy shit! Just motherfucking everybody for no reason.
Like I could buy after that promo why Tammy would go out. Like, let's go to the janitor's closet, bro. It was hot. It was great.
All right, we get our opening animation. Joey and Joel recap. Well, what just went down. We then head to the ring for our opener. Super Crazy is taking on Jerry Lynn. So this kind of comes off of last week's TNN, which we're still seeing a little bit of this like Saturday's main event style with TNN, where it kind of exists in its own little world. So it's like TNN to TNN to TNN. Yep. Super Crazy heads out to a pop. Lynn's out looking to settle the issue. We cut to Angel and DeVito. They're hanging out in the New York City subway looking for New Jack. They issue warnings to Rotten Balls, who take on Skull and News tonight. And whoever takes the fall in that match is leaving ECW forever. New Jack is back on the streets, getting back to his OG style. But when they find him, they're going to take him out, and it'll be worth the 20 years in jail to do it. So there you go. Back to the arena. The bell rings. Lynn starts with a backdrop and a drop kick to send Crazy outside. Lynn follows with Pescado. Back in the ring, Crazy catches Lynn rolling in, stomps away in the ribs. Lynn avoids a moonsault. We get a quick flurry sequence that ends with a stiff tilt-a-whirl backbreaker for 2 by Crazy. Crazy powerbombs Lynn and almost decapitates him on the ropes on a near fall. Lynn blocks a pile driver, gets a Rana, follows with a bridging German for 2. Lynn stomps away, goes up top, but Crazy meets him. Lynn shoves him back down, gets a tornado DDT for 2. Lynn goes up top again, but this time Crazy shoves him off and he splats through a table at ringside. Back inside, Crazy covers for 2, gets a triple moonsault for an air fall. Crazy sticks a pile driver for 2, follows with a brain buster. Carino and Tajiri are in. The ref shoves Carino, but Tajiri spews mist at him and buries Crazy with a brain buster. A new ref comes in, checks on the old ref, and then counts the fall for Lynn, who had crawled on top of Crazy. A red hot match that, like, give me this plus 10 on pay-per-view. and it would have been awesome. As is, it's a special TV match. It crackled. The offense was so good and efficient and continues the story. But we need more of Crazy and Lynn. Like, this is a fresh matchup. We haven't really seen too much of these two pairing off. So I went 3.25, Matt. This is really, really good.
Yeah, I went 3 on this. Another really fun sprint on TNN, which is it's kind of been their MO lately, where they just have these really fun sprints. So I enjoyed this. The ref punching Carino and then Carino selling it like he got shot was fucking fantastic. I love that. I thought that was great. He just falls over, just like he took a super kick from Shawn Michaels or something. And it was an awful punch that the ref threw too. But he still sold it like death. It was great. So yeah, to JT's point, like, give these guys like 15 minutes on pay-per-view and it'll be like fucking 4 stars plus probably. This was just fantastic stuff. The brain buster that Tajiri hit was sick to end this. Jesus Christ. So yeah, I like where they're going with this. We'll, it's interesting. I like that they're switching Crazy up and not just doing Crazy Tajiri like even though they just did it on like 2 episodes ago, but like they're adding different stuff to it. And I like that they've added Lynn into the mix with this. It's a good spot for him. So, cause it's similar types of wrestlers to Lynn. So I went 3 stars on this. Give me more of this on like a pay-per-view, Jenny.
What do we think about showing the promo like during like the beginning part of the match?
It's weird. It's very weird.
Done it like 2 episodes now. Yeah. I feel like it's like a good use of time, Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
It feels very like Heyman ADD type of booking to me,
It's like a little, I don't know. I didn't mind it because I thought the Baldies were great in their promo.
Yeah, and TNN is very fast. Like,
yes,
right. The run times are tight. Like, they don't have a shitload of time to like work this stuff in, so like it moves pretty quick.
Yep.
So I think they're just trying to get as much in as they can.
It feels so TNA. Every time I think of it, it feels so TNA. Just stuff happening every moment. But like this match was pretty awesome. The pacing, the spots, everybody hit their shit. The table spots, the run-in was great. Like, this is like the meat of ECW, like right now. Like this sort of like grouping with Jerry Lynn and these other guys that never disappoint, always deliver, and want you leave you wanting more of that style of match. So I did 3.25 on it. Awesome stuff.
All right, Angel and DeVito are still stalking the subways looking for New Jack. No luck. Angel wants to fight him tonight. Ron Ball's head to the ring. We go backstage. Steve Corino has his head wrapped. He's crying. Says he's dying and needs his mommy. Jack's victory leaves for a minute and comes back with a priest, who, of course, Matt, is the one and only.
I'm here.
Yeah.
James Vandenberg.
More TNA.
And if we want to go back to the movie references, it definitely looks like George Carlin and Jay and Silent Bob Strike.
Oh my God. Jesus, you just ruined him for me.
He's playing the priest. It's the 90s. All right, so or 2000. It's the 2000. Anything goes. Gay, straight, whatever. All right. Vandenberg mutters some gibberish. He pats Carino and says, "Go get him, my son." Carino pops up and says he's healed and he's born again and leaves. Victory tells the priest he blew $1 million for him. The priest calls Carino a schmuck and says this gig sucks. And he pulls out a smoke and says it beats managing Mortis and Wrath. And then he walks away. So we'll see if Jimmy V is here to stay or if this is kind of a one-off dig at WCW. But anyway, he'd be a good addition. He'd fit right in this.
Yeah, I'm in.
Sure.
Let's go.
I won't stand for the Mortis and Wrath slander, though.
Well, no, definitely not. It's, anyone who watches Wrestling Warzone or listens knows Chatty and I are we're high on the Mortis and Wrath.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Stuff. High-ish. Back to the ring we go as Rotten Balls are here to take on the Baldies, Skull and News. Yo, baby, yo, baby, yo. Skull and Axel fight on the floor. He's clawing at his face. Joey says, reminds us that the loser of this fall in the street fight is gone. News gnaws Balls in the ring as Axel rallies chair shots to Skull outside. Balls bounces News or the punches, a kick to the nuts, and a heavy clothesline. News recovers, hits a lariat. A Skull chokes Axel against the railing. News goes up top, but Axel puts Balls out of the way, and then they rattle News with chair shots to a pop. Skull's in with a chair, calls on both men, but he whiffs with his, and Balls mashes him with a super kick. Skull gets up, and Axel whacks him with a chair. Balls plants him with a Nutcracker Sweet into the pile of chairs, and Skull is gone from ECW. Not much of a match, a pretty quick fight. The Baldies lose a key member of the squad. I went half a star on this, and this is it for Skull. A very brief run for Vito LaGrasso here, whatever his name was, Vito DeGrassi. He's gone. He's headed to WCW, where, as we talked about earlier in the night, you listen to the Backbone on Vince Russo podcast. Skull Vito is there as part of the Mamalukes around this time. So I think he debuts pretty quick because
he's at Starrcade. Yeah.
He's before then. I mean, they're talking about Vito, I believe, like after World War III. So I mean, he's like overnight, he's in WCW. So he's a guy definitely got a payday, cashed out, and heads there. So they write him out of the Baldies. He was kind of the key guy, so it was kind of surprising, honestly, that he was gone. But we'll see. We'll see how the Baldies carry on without him, Jenny. But half a star again. This was not much, just kind of a fight.
Yeah, I was like, what is happening? I have no notes, really. I love Axel and Balls as a team, and I gave them 1 star for this match, Maddie.
Yeah, I went half a star because you had PN News right there. You could have pinned him and sent his ass packing, but right. No, Skull's gonna go get paid and go to WCW. Fine. I guess we'll deal with more PN News. Skull.
Yep.
All right. Backstage, Carino and Victory bang on locker room doors looking for Rhino. They stumble into him, and Carino and Candido huddled up with Tommy. And I'll try that one again. We're live, pal. Stumble into Rhino and Candido huddled with Tammy, who has a towel on her head, apparently worn out from the fun with Rhino in the closet. Carino's upset. He asks what's going on and what this means for their plan. Candido says, not to worry about the plan. Tammy's not a skank like these other girls. She's the best manager in the sport and the best sports entertainer in the locker room. Rhino says Tammy's a hell of a negotiator. They huddle up, and Carino and Rhino throw the cameraman out. So Carino is, or Candido and Rhino, she's like, Carino is definitely starting to feel like maybe he's the odd man out now with Rhino, who was this guy. Rhino was with the Impact Players. He feels like he's out with them. And now he's with Candido and Tammy. So he's all over the place right now. Any quick thoughts on that?
It was great.
Yeah, apparently James Vandenberg's fucking seance on Carino didn't work because he was still fucking bandaged up, wrapped up like a mummy.
His whole face. That was so good.
Oh, God. Joey and Joe reset. Joey says to go to the website and vote for ECW Wrestler of the Year. Check out news, video, audio from live events, digital photos, and safely shop for extensive merchandise. The Baldies are on the subway in the Bronx. There's a bum passed out. DeVito says it's New Jack's boyfriend, and then they lift his wallet. DeVito says they don't care about Skull. His ass gets smoked, and he's out of here. Angel issues another warning to New Jack and demands a street fight on the subway next week on TNN. He'll bring New Jack to the grave, even if he has to go with him. Any thoughts on it? Quickly moving on from Skull here.
Yeah. Fuck that guy, said DeVito.
I'm not going to lie. I love the Subway promos.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah.
The setting's great. And they're doing it. You know, they're not holding back. And, you know, I buy it. It's great. They're doing an awesome job. I'm shocked at how much I like
the Baldies have been good. Like, when we talked about the last
really
episode, we haven't really had like a street gang.
Yeah.
You know, we had Public Enemy, we had gangs, but we haven't had like this kind of like street toughs, you know, like that are hateable. You know, that aren't like kind of cool like gangsters were, PE were. It's like these guys are just kind of douchebags, but it's, you know, they do it pretty well.
One of them's kind of hot too, so that really helps.
All of them. All right, main event time. Raven and Tommy Dreamer defending the tag team titles against Chris Candido and Rhino. Carino and Victory lead out Rhino, followed by Candido and Tammy. They're all handshakes and smiles. This big plan, the big ruse. Dreamer, Francine suck out to a pop, followed by Raven. The champions get in the ring together. We cut backstage. Roadkill's with Danny Doring, who says he lost his rat. And now Chris Candido and Rhino are getting title shots because of the TNN ratings. But what they need are a pair of boobs to get a title shot here in ECW. A random woman walks in, shows off her huge cans, and Doring says she is with the Conda. One of my favorite things. One of my favorite things in life is when a nickname gets shortened into another nickname, and it's like an evolution of nicknames. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
So like he went from like like his penis is like an anaconda to being the Danaconda, and now he's just the Conda. It's like amazing.
Yeah.
And he just did it. He just has done this himself. Like no one's calling him these things.
Russian nesting nicknames.
He just calls himself these things, and now he's the Conda, which is amazing. Ryan, Roadkill says chickens. The Rat's gone. She's headed to WWF as well. So again, like we're bleeding people in ECW. They keep replenishing. They just keep replenishing.
Yeah.
Miss Congeniality Angelica is headed to be Lita with S.A. Rios very shortly in the WWF. So she's on her way. I believe. I think she's gone. I don't think we see her again here. Carino still has his face all taped up. He has the mic. He says he wants to express his anger over being punched in the face by an ECW official. He demands restitution for the attack, and that restitution will be the tag team titles. Dreamer just punches him, and the bell sounds. We get reset. Candido and Dreamer get us going. Joel says the rumor in the locker room is Rhino has already gored someone else tonight in Binghamton. Tommy gets a shoulder block and misses both ends of Gurries as we go to break. When we return, Candido's hammering away at Tommy. Celebrates too soon. Tommy gets a side leg sweep. Tags Raven, who comes into a pop. The champs get a double team front suplex. Raven throws Candido to the floor. He follows out, shoots Candido to the railing. Rhino drills him hard from behind, stomps away. Tommy comes in to help, grabs a trash can lid, hands it to Raven, who beats on Rhino with it. Tommy and Candido go to the crowd. Francine gets in the ring. She dips back out as Raven comes in and flies out into Rhino to put him through a table with a splash. Candido shoots Tommy back to ringside. Tommy throws him right back into the railing as Raven peppers Rhino. Candido goes low on Tommy, launches him off the apron hard to the floor. We settle back into a regular tag match as Raven rallies the crowd behind Tommy. Candido and Rhino work over Tommy, and Rhino gets 2 on a spine buster. Raven does his best to help as the challengers keep battering Tommy but can't put him away. Candido gets 2 on a delayed vertical. Rhino comes in and cuts off a comeback with a powerbomb out of the corner. Tommy finally escapes the tag, and Raven comes in hot and cleans house. Rhino viciously gores Candido by accident. Raven smacks Rhino with a chair, trips him into it for 2. Tommy is back up and loads the Spicoli driver, but Tammy blocks him with a low blow. Francine is into a pop, and we get a cat fight as the crowd goes wild. Francine ends that with a DDT. She ducks a Candido lariat, and Tommy hits a DDT to win the match. So fun brawl. They hit all the right spots. They have the crowd rocking. Rhino's so damn good. His offense and aggression is electric. The gore to Candido was super stiff. Candido was good too. And this new approach to Raven is really, like we've said, just kind of rejuvenated this angle and storyline overall. So I went 3 stars, Matt. It was a very good match, main event. And I definitely like where things are headed now with the new Raven twist.
Yeah, it feels like we actually have something happening with Raven, which is more than we've said the past 2 months or whatever it's been. I went 2 3/4 months. 6 months, excuse me, 6 months. So I went 2 3/4 on the match. It's another, perfectly solid main event on TNN. I don't think there was any chance Rhino and Candido rather. I did the same thing. Who's going to win this match? So that kind of took me out of it a little bit, but it was still like a really fun brawl. So this is kind of more what I want out of Raven and Dreamer. Just, yes, they hate each other, but let's just fucking put our shit aside and have a match for once. Let's try that and see how that works. So it was good for that. So 2 3/4 for me, Jenny.
Finally, an enjoyable match with Tommy and Raven.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're kind of good together, you guys. I think it's going to work out as a team. I believe that Raven is going to continue to do the right thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to be a stand-up guy and a good teammate to Tommy. So that all worked out. Candido, I liked him with Rhino. I think that's a good pairing. They
Candido Raven was a cool match too.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Like that, I don't think they really crossed paths that much before. Maybe in a random tag here and there, but not much. I don't think.
I thought the use of Tammy and Fran was perfect. It was a really hot cat fight, not gonna lie, and a really good main event for TNN. I thought it truly delivered. Extremely fun stuff. Made me really excited to see where they're going to go with this tag team. And I gave it 3 stars.
All right. Joey screams for the replay to end as Carino and Victory in the ring. They beat down the champs. Finally, Enter Sandman hits, and Sandman shows up in the balcony. He comes to the ring as Joey wonders what he's going to do. Sandman cleans house on Carino's crew to a pop, but Raven attacks him from behind. They fight as Tommy pulls him apart. Sandman swings wildly. Raven sidesteps, and he nails Tommy by accident. the Impact players show up and they attack and lay out all 3 men and stand tall with Rhino. So I don't know if that was the plan, but that's where we end up. Any quick thoughts on that final segment?
Always love it when one of Sandman's friends gets the shit kicked out of him and he shows up in the balcony and slowly waltzes down. It's always great.
Do we need
it's
to
always
do
great. It's always great. I'm your friend and everything, but I'm going to take my sweet ass time to get to the ring.
Yeah, you don't really need me right now.
I'm into it. Not gonna lie.
All right, best match of the night. I had a Crazy Lynn.
Yes.
Yep.
Worst match, Rotten Balls and Baldies, which is really
yes.
Yep.
Best moment, I went with Sandman caning Dreamer. I thought it was pretty good, and it's kind of the most interesting story thing that happened.
You know, I'm gonna go with Rhino's opening promo in the ring.
Yeah, that was good too.
Yeah. I was gonna say James Mitchell showing up, but
holy shit, yes, that's also very good.
All right, most 90s, I went with Vandenberg. Obviously, he was one of them, and then Tammy seducing wrestlers.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Stock Rising, I had the Baldies, Lynn, Crazy, Raven and Dreamer, Rhino. And then Falling, I had Skull. Quick ending for his run.
Yep.
Off to be a Mama Luke. Final grade, I went 7 out of 10. I think it's probably the best of the 3 episodes tonight. And TNN's been, pretty good lately. They've been dialed in. Like, I think they figured out the flow finally. They got some stuff cooking.
Yep.
They're not over-engineering it, but we're getting lots of stuff. And they're kind of picking like 2 or 3 stories per week on TNN to focus on, and they're weaving them in, but like it's not overkill with that. They're not trying to do everything. So it's like on this one, we kind of had the Baldy stuff. We had this Rhino Candido thing, and then we had the Lynn Crazy, and like they kind of left it at that, like for tonight.
Yeah.
So we don't need like a million other highlights and everything focused on. There's like no RVD, no side, like that stuff is kind of off to the side, awesome, and all that stuff. So I thought they found a little groove on TNN.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, TNN has been delivering as of late, which annoys me because I'm a hardcore TV kind of girl, and they need to focus more on that. And I also gave it 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I went 7 out of 10 on this too. It feels like they're kind of settling into a formula on how to do these TNN shows with like a bunch of like small, tiny promos and then like 3 matches. And it seems like it's been that for a couple weeks now. But I think, they're settling into that formula and just really figuring out how to put these shows together.
All right. That'll do it for us here tonight. We'll be back in 2 weeks with 3 more episodes of ECW television. Be sure to subscribe to everything here at North South Connection, both video and audio. Follow us on social media for all the latest. It is WrestleMania season. We'll be having tons of WrestleMania content. Also, we'll be having a new project that's going to last all year, kicking off shortly as well. So stay tuned to hear more about that. Until then, stay extreme and don't stop until you hit the top, all the way to the top.